I'm interested to see what he said
Mm.
and what he's figured out.
Yeah.
But he seems to have settled down a lot.
Yeah.
He had terrible problems, which I struggled with. He was writing essays and that, and he couldn't stop himself. He tried to be a perfectionist, and he just couldn't stop himself. And he'd study and study and study to try and get the perfect essay, and he'd do it. And that was tiring itself. That was terrible.
Exhausting to watch too.
But he said to me a while back, I've been able to say no, I've written enough in this essay, I'm not going to do any more.
Yeah.
And that was a big breakthrough.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that understanding of what's enough.
Yeah, he couldn't control that for a while. He couldn't control it at all.
But I think partly that's kind of being comfortable with yourself, like when you think about perfectionism, it's what you put out or the work you produce is kind of a reflection of yourself. And so I think actually learning about what is enough is actually about figuring out, kind of becoming content with who you are and, actually realising that you're enough as you are. And so, it can be hard. Anxiety is natural and that we all feel it to some degree and in some situations. And so I guess that anyone's journey with anxiety doesn't necessarily have a definitive start and an end. It's not kind of like necessarily this thing that you graduate from and never feel anxious again. But so it's about, I guess, learning to live with anxiety in a way that means that you are able to enjoy your life and do things that are fulfilling and rewarding. And I think that's something that he's increasing.
Yeah, well that was actually a sort of light bulb moment for me when I heard or read something like that, that it's not, there's not going to be a silver bullet and it's going to be solved. And Gray and I talked about that, and I sort of realised that it's just a matter of getting it under control and keeping it under control, or something like that. Which was really, really helpful to know that it's because that there's never going to be a silver bullet and it's gone. It's just a matter of keeping it under control, which is actually quite soothing. To know that, rather than it's an affliction, it's a disease that you're going to take some pills and it's going to go away. You realise that it's not. It's just an imbalance in his understanding of anxiety.
In some ways, sometimes I'm thinking of something like diabetes, a little bit similar. How you have to learn to live with it. There'll be times when you've got to, it'll go up and down, and you learn to notice that and learn what's useful to do at those times. And anxiety is a bit like that.
Yes, well that was a real help when I understood that. And I don't know how we came across that, but it makes me sort of think back, what have we done, or how have we caused it, or not. But then I look back, I look at the past and I can see markers, but they go way back.
And I think so many parents will be kind of doing that, like, did I do something? How did we come?
What have I missed? What have we done, or what have we not done?
I guess generally though, like it's never a 1 + 1 = 2 kind of equation. There'll be so many things, and you touched on when you think back things about his kind of personality or his temperament, and he similarly talked about his personality, and that's often an aspect that actually we are born with certain temperaments that mean that we might be more or less anxious or more or less sensitive and those kinds of things, and then on top of that things might happen throughout our lives that kind of interact, I guess, with that temperament and can produce anxiety. But yeah, it's almost never because of any like one particular thing that happened. So,
but maybe the understanding that a person's just born with propensity to be a little bit more emotional,
and how we all of us have strengths and vulnerabilities.
Yes.
And we talked earlier about there's those two sides of the coin, isn't there? That being able to be a really deep thinker can be such a strength.
Yes.
And it can also make us so much more sensitive and aware too. So it's both sides of this.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's, he is a deep thinker. I'm pretty sure he is. Yes, he's an interesting kid. Very interesting kid. Wow.
And I would say one thing that I've noticed while you've been talking is your reflectiveness as well, that clearly, along this journey you've kind of taken the time to think back and kind of reflect on different things you've tried or what you've done, and then think about, was that helpful, was it not helpful, were there things that I could do differently? And when we were talking to Gray, that was one of the things I think that stood out so much, was his reflectiveness and his ability to think about what he can do for himself. And so I would say you've modelled some quite useful reflection and skills as well in your parenting. So